So the NBA draft lottery was last night. Of course, the Dallas Mavericks winning the number one overall pick and the rights to draft Cooper Flagg. And then this morning, on Get Up on ESPN, Jay Williams suggested that the Dallas Mavericks should look to trade away that pick just months after trading away Luka Doncic for Tyrese Maxey. Absolute insanity. And I'm going to discuss this ridiculous idea that Jay Williams had because honestly, this is just never going to happen. But if you did miss it, if you weren't tuned in with us last night as we were live on 76ers Now for the lottery, here are the official results of the top 14 picks in the 2025 NBA draft. Of course, the Mavericks, as I mentioned, with a 1.8% chance, move all the way up, get number one, gonna take Cooper Flagg. The Spurs jump up to number two. Great for them to pair somebody high-end, probably Dylan Harper, up with Victor Wembanyama. And the Sixers keep their pick, jump from number 5 to number 3, and we'll have plenty of discussions on the channel about the different ways they can go with that third overall pick. And you can see followed by the Hornets, Jazz, and Wizards, who all fall from those top 3 selections, and the rest of the lottery as such. So before we get into exactly what Jay Williams did have to say, if you're excited for this NBA draft, the Sixers picking third overall, a chance to really get a real difference maker in that top 3, someone who can help bridge the gap into this younger core the Sixers are building. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. It's been a while since the Sixers have had a pick this high in the draft, and we're going to have it covered all for you here on the show. So if you're excited, show me by hitting that like button on today's video. So here is exactly what Jay Williams had to say. Now, I know it's going to be controversial, but if I'm Nico Harrison, I'm trading the pick. For a guy like Cooper Flagg, I think he needs reps. I think he needs a lot of room to grow. I'm not sure about championship aspirations for him right away. When I look at the value, could you potentially package something like this to get a Giannis? Could you package it in a one-on-one trade to get a Devin Booker? Could you get a Tyrese Maxey? Wow. If your championship window is in 2 to 3 years, could you utilize that pick, get some assets to get somebody who's ready to contribute to you right now with the pressure in the West? Look, I saw this morning on Twitter, and the first thing I thought was that Jay Williams needs to be drug tested. You seriously think that after trading away Luka and getting lucky enough, by the skin of his teeth, Nico Harrison got lucky enough to land Cooper Flagg in this draft with just a 1.8% chance, the lowest chance a team's had at number 1, and got it since Derrick Rose and the Bulls in 2008? You think he's going to squander that and then trade away Cooper Flagg for a Tyrese Maxey? Now, look, I'll say this. Could the Mavs potentially trade number 1 for Giannis? Sure, I could see a world where that happens. I still wouldn't bet on that happening. I don't think that would happen. But I could see a scenario in which Dallas is able to pull off a move, sending that number 1 pick in Cooper Flagg to Milwaukee. They get Giannis. Then Milwaukee kind of kickstarts their new rebuild, their new young core around Cooper Flagg. And then all of a sudden, Dallas has Giannis, has Anthony Davis. How does it fit there? I actually kind of like it. Kyrie Irving obviously not going to be back for a little bit of time, but to get a Giannis of a player, you'll trade Cooper Flagg, who obviously is far from a sure thing, although I think he's going to be a stud in this league. But Cooper Flagg for Tyrese Maxey is insane to me. And look, I love Tyrese Maxey. I've said, I don't want to put Tyrese Maxey in all these trades. I want Tyrese Maxey to be a Sixer for life. Ever since he's got here, his attitude, his demeanor, his play, and how much better he's gotten year after year after year. Like, Tyrese Maxey's a stud. He's an all-star level player. He's, in my opinion, top 20-ish level player in the NBA and one of the best guards we have in the league. Still has some steps he can take to be one of the best guards in the NBA, but still so young and just a heartbeat, really, of this team and the future of this team after Paul George and Joel Embiid. But if I'm the Sixers, and it's a one-for-one type of deal, obviously Mavs have had to match salaries, which Jay Williams was not considering in this proposal because the salaries are just way off. But theoretically, like a one-for-one, we get number 1, they get Tyrese Maxey. I'm not going to lie, I'd do it in a heartbeat because of the direction the Sixers team is headed and how high I am on Cooper Flagg. I think Cooper Flagg, within a couple years, give him 2-3 years, He'll be a top 5 player in this league. He does it all on both ends of the floor. I mean, we saw it at Duke. Had one of the best individual seasons in college basketball history, not just for a freshman. He was doing things we haven't seen in years, won pretty much every award you could possibly win, besides, of course, winning the national championship. But you think about a guy who can turn into a number one and truly carry a team. Like, we're obviously, splitting hairs here. I don't know if Maxey can ever be the true number one on a championship team. Cooper Flagg, I think, has that upside, has that potential. And, of course, you're saving a bunch of money as well. So, theoretically, yeah, I would ship off Tyrese Maxey for Cooper Flagg. But, again, I just don't think there's any chance that ever comes to fruition. The Mavericks would want something way more than just Tyrese Maxey if they're trading away that pick. But, of course, Nico Harrison is a wild card at this point. You never really know what he's going to do after sending out Luka Doncic, and, of course, did help the Sixers already earlier in the year by giving them Quentin Grimes and their second-round pick back for Caleb Martin. So, it's tough to say that Nico Harrison definitely won't pull off a certain move like this, but I would just be very, very surprised, not just because it doesn't make sense in a basketball standpoint to me, but it doesn't make sense from a fan standpoint and from a PR standpoint. If he did this and he pulled off a move where he traded the number one pick for Tyrese Maxey straight up, I don't think he'd be safe. I'm going to be honest. I've already heard multiple Mavs fans tell me that if he traded the pick and if he didn't take Flagg, like, Nico Harrison would have to watch his back. He's already been having to watch his back after making the Luka trade and how upset Mavericks fans were with him. And you're going to squander an opportunity to take a potentially generational player to trade for, again, somebody I love in Tyrese Maxey. I think a very, very great player in this league. But to give up Cooper Flagg for that, man, I don't know how he would possibly survive all the criticism and the hate he'd be getting from Mavericks fans. Of course, it's all purely speculative. It's not like Jay Williams really has any sources here saying that they're going to try to offer number one for Maxey. I'm sure there will be calls made for other of the top-end players, but I don't think Dallas would ever do this. I don't know if Philly would even do this, or if it was offered, maybe they would. But would you do this? Theoretically, let's just say the Mavericks do come calling and they offer you the number one overall pick for Tyrese Maxey. They weren't able to swing a deal for a Giannis or somebody like that. Would you accept it? Would you trade Tyrese Maxey for the number one pick? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no, of course. Not something I really ever see happening, but a fun exercise to talk about, as trade rumors are going to keep sparking as we get closer and closer to the NBA draft. Now, coming up, I do want to talk about some more realistic trade rumors here with the 76ers and them possibly trading the number 3 overall pick. Of course, I want them to use the pick and take a player at number 3, but it's also a tool, as Daryl Morey has said, that they can use to upgrade the roster, and a trade is certainly in the realm of possibility. Now, before we talk about that and my feelings on trading versus keeping the pick, I want to keep telling you guys about these jerseys that are on sale at Fanatics. 76ers jerseys in all different styles, all different sizes, all different players. You want current players like the aforementioned Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid. You want Sixers legends like an AI, like a Julius Erving. Any player, any type of style throwbacks you could want, you can get on Fanatics. And there's no better time to get a jersey than right now, because jerseys are up to 50% off. That's right, 50% off on some of these Sixers jerseys. If you go to chatsports.com/76 jerseys, you want to get them now because that deal is not going to last forever. So again, chatsports.com/76 jerseys. I'll have that in the comments section and description of today's show. So let's get back to it. Could the Sixers look to trade number 3? Now, it's certainly a possibility with several stars on the market, like a Giannis and like a Kevin Durant. There's a possibility of them thinking about moving that pick for a player that can help them more right away, because Daryl Morey has said, we want to win, obviously, with Joel Embiid and Paul George on these big contracts and getting older and older. Now, me personally, I would keep this third overall pick because I would rather start to set a foundation for long-term success with some younger guys. And at number 3 overall, there's a world where you can get somebody to pair up with a Tyrese Maxey and with a Jared McCain and with a Quentin Grimes and really set yourself up nicely with a strong young core to have success, not just for this year and next year, but for the next 5, 10 plus years. Now, we talked yesterday about some draft targets at number 3. My number one option for the Sixers is still Ace Balian. Look, I know Sixers Twitter is on fire right now debating over Ace Bailey. It seems that you could only have two opinions right now on Ace Bailey. You either think he's Kevin Durant or you think he's the worst player in the draft. It's pretty unbelievable when talking about these prospects. They're far from finished prospects, they're far from finished players, and plenty more to get through throughout this draft process. But I love Ace Bailey. I like VJ Edgecombe quite a lot. And trust me, we'll have a video talking about the two of these guys coming up soon on the channel. Jeremiah Fears at Oklahoma, Trey Johnson's player we talked about a lot, Derek Queen. Like, these are all good options. I think the top two are really the only two guys I'm truly considering. But it allows you to get a player who, if they reach their upside, like, that's a guy who can help you have sustained success for multiple years. Now, is there a world maybe where you can package number 3 and Paul George, that big salary, and in one move you can get off Paul George, which Sixers would probably love to do even if they're not going to admit it, and you can get a much more talented player in here? There could be. And we'll talk about, some theoretical moves now that the pick is solidified at number 3, about maybe a Giannis, maybe a Kevin Durant. It does just seem a bit far-fetched for me for where the Sixers are at right now. And I think they'd probably rather take a younger player as well, with all those high salaries they have, instead of bringing in another high-salary player. But it's certainly in the realm of options that Daryl Morey can make. We know he's always aggressive. We know how Daryl Morey is with these star players, always wanting to go get stars. But he did say that entering this offseason, he does not want to make the same mistake that he made last offseason in only going after vets who can help in the playoffs. They need to be able to actually get to the playoffs first to be able to perform. So we'll see how these talks and rumors sort of go as we approach the NBA draft. But that is why you subscribe to the channel, the absolute best Sixers draft and free agency coverage. And it's absolutely free. All you have to do is click that sub button. We had a great live show yesterday for the NBA draft lottery. Picked up a bunch of new subscribers, sitting at 21,500. So be sure to subscribe, join the channel, turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing during this busy off season.